Welcome to the Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I am your host, Louise Solis, and with me, as always, is my very, very talented friend who is so incredibly bubblicious, the mixtress, DC Gina.
Louise, bubblicious is definitely a term for today, huh?
You like that? You like that? Wow.
I do. I think my kids also have an LOL doll called Bubblicious, which she's dressed slightly like a hooker. So, okay.
Well, back in the day, who knows what you did? We weren't there. We have no pictures. So have you ever wondered why bubbles are round?
No.
Okay. So the reason why bubbles are round, just like balloons, scientists call them minimal surface structures. What this means is that bubbles hold the air enclosed inside them in the least possible surface area they can. So they compress, right? So out of all the geometric shapes, cubes or pyramids, the only geometric form with the least surface area is a sphere. That's why your bubbles are spheres. And it also means, unfortunately, we will never have square-shaped bubbles. So take that and put that in your hat.
Lots to ponder.
But don't pop a bubble while you try, though. It might hurt.
I won't get a break. I'm into it.
So, but lucky for us, may not be able to have square bubbles, but there are lots of type of bubbles that we can put in our glass, right? And today's designated drinker is here to help us explore a few of our options. Since, it's New Year's, time for bubbles. So please welcome our very bubbly guest, the president of Washline, Trevor Frye. Welcome to the show, bubbly guest.
Wow, bubbly. All right. I've got a lot to live up to. It's been a long week already of Wednesday. So I'm going to put on my bubbly face for you guys.
There you go. 'Tis the season.
Yeah.
Hi, Trevor.
How are you, Gina?
I'm good. How are you?
It's nothing new, right? It's just like a normal year. Nothing crazy this year. Everything's been, super easy. How about yourself? Heard you moved.
I did. I moved to the country where I'm looking at a snow-fallen ground with a deer. It's just like it's a
little winter wonderland.
Yeah, wonderland, but more like a zoo. And for this New Yorker, I'll just stay in the house. Other people will be outside going, let me get my camera. I'm like, I'm never going outside with that.
Oh, you'll be fine.
What kind of deer is it?
She's a doe.
A big one.
Yeah, just a doe. She's pretty big. She's pretty big.
It's still bow season up there. You see something with antlers, you can have dinner for the whole next year.
We haven't seen one with antlers, but I have seen a bunch of hunters in orange, scoping, going through the woods. And I'm like, what? And I asked my husband, what is that? And he's like, hunting season. I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't speak that language, but let's see. If it was hunting season in Queens, New York, I would say someone's in big trouble. So
someone owes someone some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a slightly different scenario, I think.
I mean, anyway, moving on.
So you're coming from your kitchen. Trevor's coming in from his kitchen. So what are you guys planning this year? What's going on for New Year's? I know it's been a tough year. We're all looking forward. I'm assuming we're all looking forward to 2021. But what are we doing? We're here to talk about New Year's and help people, figure out what they want to put in their glasses. What are you guys planning on doing?
Well, I mean, Trevor, first of all, is coming from the Sazerac house in Washington, D.C. So one thing that I love about what Trevor does is he creates amazing cocktails and experiences and sends them all over the U.S. and does all of that. So being part of Q Tonic and all this loveliness that he sent us, I feel like we should almost, I don't know, Louise, you have to flip a coin. Lead with me or lead with him? Go. What do you feel like having first?
Well, why don't we just put you on the spot, get it all warmed up for us, and then we'll jump right in.
All right. So New Year's Eve, everyone puts a lot of pressure on the situation and they have to get something super expensive or make a cocktail that has 500 ingredients. 2020 for me was, a little bit of a shit show would be something easy to say. It was more than that. We pivoted. We've done everything we possibly can to remain open and alive. So for me, I wanted to make my cocktail as simple as possible, meaning I don't want to have to shake or do anything special in my drink this year at all. I just want to take it to the face. So one thing that I love, and I like to have multiple drinks. I always say I'm just thirstier than most people. Is it I'm thirstier? Do I like more cocktails than most people? I don't know. But what I came up with is something super delicious and really, really easy. And gin is, you can use gin. You don't have to use gin. It's kind of up to you. You can get really creative with it and put a fancy garnish on it if you want. It's kind of really the ball's in your court, right? So all you need is bubbles and Q grapefruit, and gin is optional, and a dash of mango.
Okay.
Anything else? Nothing crazy.
How much?
Right?
How much gin do we need, Gina?
Well, you're gonna put gin in because I'm gonna put gin in. So it's a half an ounce of gin. And then this is what's the craziest part. You ready? Half an ounce of gin right into your chilled glass. And if you don't have a chilled glass, that is okay too. And what I like to do, only for effect, cause and effect when you're doing something so simple as this, is I'm gonna open my little bottle. And I love these. I recommend this. If you're having a party and you don't know who's gonna be drinking what and you don't wanna waste it, these cute little Prosecco, little 6.7 ounce bottles are the best. These little splits, because you can drink them. You don't have to share with anybody. You don't need anything fancy. They screw off. Super easy. Ready? So you have your half an ounce in there. You do half an ounce to an ounce, depending on what you feel like doing. And you're just going to do 50-50 right up the center. Right? So you have that in there. Delish. And then one angle right across the top. Boom. That's it. Very, very simple. And up to you. And this is, God forbid I don't over garnish something, because I thought about it and I was like, I'm not going to put a garnish. But of course I cannot not put a garnish, because that would just be ridiculous, right? You're going to take grapefruit peel and you're going to take like something maybe the size of a 50-cent piece. And if you don't know what a 50-cent piece is, you want something that's roughly 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter. And you're going to make a circle and you will squeeze it across the top. And I would not actually dump it in because it will make everything fizzy. Just discard it. And for me, I just threw it in the sink and I'm like, so here we go. Proofs of the pudding. Is this as delicious as you think it might be? It is.
I think
Look at
so.
all
Look
those
how
bubbles.
pretty yours is. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. I'm using a little
drink.
Yep, I could drink that all day. And that might be a bad thing, but I could.
It's my new take on, you're entertaining, you're Zooming, you're talking to people, however you're going to spend your New Year's in 2021. You can have more than one. You can have like 10 and probably not even be that drunk, or 10 excessive, 5.
So Trevor brought me some gin. So Trevor, tell me a little bit about this gin. Apparently this is from my neck of the woods.
Yeah. So this is Jay Rieger. They're one of our clients with Washline. They're fantastic, out of Kansas City, Missouri. A good friend of mine, Ryan Mabey, was one of the founding partners of it. So Jay Rieger as a distillery was around pre-prohibition. They did a lot of like catalog delivery back then. They made everything, all types of brandy, whiskey, gin. And then when prohibition came around, they were one of the many distilleries that fell by the wayside. Almost 100 years later, Ryan was opening up his bar and he found like these notes from the previous distillery from the building that he was in. And long story short, he tracked down the great Andy. They revived the brand. They brought in some really amazing people to consult on making the product. So for the gin in particular, I love, because most people are familiar with Tanqueray. So Tom Nickel created this gin. So it's the only other gin he's created outside of Tanqueray in 42 years. And for an American or Western style gin, it's got a lot of those really, really nice London dry flavors. It's a little bit higher proof. It's definitely got the juniper coming forward. It stands up in stirred drinks, as well as shaken drinks. But it's one of honestly the reasons that I was interested in working with them, because I love gin martinis and Negronis. They're usually what I'm find myself making at home or if I'm out. And it's fantastic in both of those. But it's actually really nice, and it goes well with this grapefruit in here, Gina.
It is. This is really lovely. This nice notes on the nose, a lot of floral. I mean, I never talk well of of Missouri, to be honest, Trevor. This is making me drink a lot of it. Maybe I can change my opinion.
I'll tell you what, they just last year in 2019, they redid their whole distillery. They have this amazing tasting room in there. I want to say it's got to be like over 20,000 square feet or something like that in the warehouse district. They did a really good job. Yeah, they brought in, they have a Kansas City whiskey that Dave Pickrell helped them develop years ago, who's not with us anymore, but was previously with Whistle Pig and Maker's Mark. And they make this really cool Amaro as well, which is like their Cafe Amaro, which you can find at most cocktail bars that are messing around. It's a great modifier, and they do a good vodka. But there's just like good people behind good, product is for me how I really wanted to kind of get into what I'm doing now for a living.
Peddling.
This is delicious. This is the first time I've had this. This is really quite lovely.
Yeah, it's great, man.
This is the first time. Maybe it's the first time I'm nosing it prior to like having it in something else.
Yeah,
I think a lot of your drinks, Trevor. So
I've definitely made you at least a martini or
or 10.
You know what I was just thinking? This is like smells super delicious. It might be like really good and like a very simple cocktail doing like a just a traditional gin gimlet. You know what I mean?
I love it. It's a workhorse. It really is. It honestly, like gin, gin lovers really appreciate it. It is that kind of like London dry style. I mean, obviously, with Tom making Tanqueray for as long as he did. But it's got some nice subtle notes too. The citrus is there, a little bit of like, black pepper, but it's juniper forward. And, we use it in Ricky's all the time. And, it doesn't, you don't need to dress it up that much to really enjoy it, which I really kind of like being able to like celebrate the spirit instead of hide it.
It's literally, I love the juniper on it. It's really like sweet. It's very fragrant juniper. It's like really pretty instead of like, sometimes it can be a little bit dry. It almost smells sticky. And I think that's why I want that lime flavor with it. I don't know.
Gina, when you say smell sticky, what does that mean?
So
because it's beautiful. It smells, love it. I just, what does that mean?
So juniper comes from all different places, right? So you have like Mediterranean juniper from like England, you have juniper from like Scotland, you have juniper that comes from Oregon. I mean, you have juniper from everywhere. And there's just like grapes, juniper has bricks, and meaning that like how much sugar is in the juniper when they're going to distill it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And what's really interesting also is that juniper grows, like if you're listening to this podcast, we're out of Washington, D.C., but we have in like Northern Maryland, Pennsylvania border, the ability to grow amazing juniper as well. It's a little bit different, and that is not quite as, it doesn't come in quite as, because the weather is a little bit warmer in this area. It doesn't get as cold and rainy as it likes, like Oregon and whatever. But what's interesting is that the stuff that they're producing in the Mediterranean, meaning like northern parts of the Mediterranean, even though Cyprus does produce a lot of juniper, it has like, so think of it like this: more salinity from the Mediterranean regions, little less sugar. As you move north, less salinity, more sugar, and more sticky, piney smells.
Oh, right. Interesting.
So
that makes sense. The further away you get from the water,
that's what your meter would look like. If that's a thing.
It is now.
If it's not a thing, Trevor, we need to work on a juniper meter immediately.
Yes, I know. Well, a lot of people that don't like gin, that's like their big complaint, right? They're like, it smells like a Christmas tree. And that's like some like lower tiered gins do, right? Like you open it up, it smells like a pine tree. And that's usually someone, I mean, for me, like it took me a while to get back into gin because I discovered it probably earlier than I should have. And so I had a lot of very bad memories from like the next morning being like, oh God, just get this flavor out of my pores and out of my, so, but as you,
out of my pores, that's awesome.
Oh, I mean, I'm blessed with that Irish, the Irish body of when we're kind of like processing stuff is like,
everyone knows what you've consumed.
Yeah. I had my buddy, Tim Harley, in town a couple years ago, and we drank martinis and Tullamore Dew, for a while one night throughout dinner and stuff. And I went to a workout class the next day and everyone's like, dude, you smell like exactly like whiskey and martinis, like go like stand in a corner or something like that.
Go stand in a corner.
My husband just ate guacamole. I'm like, please get away from me. Eric's people, you hold on to it.
Oh,
I think the Italians are born smelling like garlic, and I can't even smell when I have garlic on me. And people are like, were you like cutting garlic? I'm like, yeah, like yesterday. They're like, yeah, okay. I'm like, gross. I took a shower. I washed my hands nonstop. Maybe I just put it out of my skin. I don't know.
So Trevor, tell us a little bit about because Q Tonic is you as well, right? Tell us a little bit about
so
Q Tonics.
Q Mixers. So this is their grapefruit soda. It's one of my favorite products they make. It's super fresh. It's not very sweet, but Q was created by Jordan up in New York. He was actually doing an event. I believe it was at the Met with another pretty predominant person in our industry, Sasha Petrosky. And they were doing an event where they were looking for a quality tonic to go with the gin. And there's this whole question of like, why are we using like good quality, spirits and then dumping tonics? There's just like all high fructose corn syrup and all this like oversweetened, unbalanced things on top. Like if we're just doing that, and that's like 3/4 of the drink. So he set out on a mission to create tonic, and he's kind of grown that based out of Brooklyn into super well-sourced ingredients. So, all of the ingredients that they're sourcing are coming from very thought-through areas. The grapefruits, are super fresh. But carbonation is their big thing. We were talking about bubbles. So if you look on any bottle of Q, they actually put the gas volume up there on the side for which one it is. So like for the grapefruit soda, it's like 3.8.
Oh yeah, sure enough.
Yeah, so they do, and the reason they do that is because and Gina, we've talked about this at length, but like when you're adding carbonation to something, it can either like mix up the flavors and everything, but you're getting those like effervescence that are coming off, the aromatics from those flavors, adding your nose to it. Like that's the bubbles are coming up. So the more carbonated it is, the more that's going to kind of come through, and you almost see them like dance on top of like a properly like chilled glass. So they've got some of the highest carbonated mixers on the market. Their club soda, I know like everyone goes nuts for like how high they can put their Ramos Gin Fizz head, but like it's fantastic for things like that. But they truly are just like for their mixers. I mean, if you like tonics, they have all different types of tonic, from the Indian tonic, which uses it's agave nectar, quinine's a little higher, and the agave nectar is a little higher to sweetener. Their yellow tonic is their spectacular tonic. Yep, there you go. And that's gonna be a little bit drier. There's a little bit, yeah. And then they've got an elderflower tonic now, and then they make some fantastic ginger beer. And I actually got hooked on Q at MCC, probably the earlier part of this decade, but ran into a guy and we kind of got along, and he was like, I got this great tonic and ginger beer and stuff. And I just was getting Dram and Grain going at Jack Rose, and I was like, I want it. And they were still at that point FedExing us. They didn't have distribution in DC, so they would FedEx us cases of ginger beer and tonic so we could use it there. So it's awesome. And I think their point stands up. It was like you're doing a highball or you're doing something like this. It's the majority of the drink over the spirit, so you should be having something as high quality as the juice you're putting in it.
Absolutely. I have it's funny doing the show. People think I know more than I really do. It's just I hang out with people like you and Gina that kind of steered me and taught me along the way. We have a talk about Irish. We have this really crazy neighbor. She's a good crazy. She's kind of crazy one. Sometimes you have no idea what she's talking about, but just stay there long enough, it'll get funny. But she's got this thick Irish accent, and she's probably mid-60s. But she loves gin and tonics, and so she thinks I make the best gin tonics in the world. She's like, no one makes them like you. What it is I've learned from Gina and hanging out with people like you, how important it is to buy the mixers, buy quality mixers. I'm not buying what you just get off the regular grocery store. And for her, she thinks I have like reinvented the gin tonic, and really I'm just following your footsteps and doing which makes total sense. If you're spending the money on a good spirit, why like shortchange the rest of it? I mean, you're talking about, and the difference in cost is just a couple of quarters maybe in the long run, and you get a better cocktail out of it. But yeah, she still swears that I make the best gin tonics in the world, and it's because it's measured and I'm using good products that you would see. Thank you for teaching me. I'm so much smarter than I really am.
It's like baking, Yeah,
exactly.
Baking, and you can't bake cocktails. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
You can cook and like add a little bit more, and but you also overcook the meat. You just have to you just gotta be precise, Like a soup is forgiving, but a medium rare steak is medium rare, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Gina,
Absolutely. You can't hide the fact that you overcooked your steak.
I'm so methodical like that. And I had so much respect. And my mom just like put together recipes from my grandparents. And I remember watching my grandmother cook, and I'm like, she doesn't measure anything, but she's just done it so long. Like she's making biscuits, or she's, whatever it is, like that it's almost more precise. It's like if you go and watch like a bartender that's worked in a high volume place for a really long time, and they're on top of their game, and they can free pour like just as accurately as someone that like has to pick up a jigger. It comes with time and it comes with practice. But I used to just be amazed. I'd sit in the kitchen and watch my grandma cook, and like be like, what? There's no measuring cups. There's no like whatever. She just knew like, this was a tablespoon or whatever. And like, guys, she was, cooking in Southern Virginia. So there was a lot of things that probably aren't as good for you now and there, but
I don't believe that, Trevor. I think that all lard is good lard.
Actually,
I just sourced bison tallow from Charlottesville, Virginia. So like I'm hip to the lard game.
Yeah.
Actually, would they done
it every day? No, but to try like biscuits made with lard, I don't care what anybody says, hands down will beat a butter biscuit any day of the week.
So, it's when you say that, though, when, we're kids, Gina, you and I are close to age. When we were kids, everyone used Crisco. Everything became Crisco. And now, I mean, and dietitians and they're all like, that's terrible for you. Go back to lard. Again, of course, it's within moderation to your point, but it's not terrible. It's better than the Crisco that's just going to harden in your arteries. And actually, that's made from cottonseed. It was a derivative.
I never wanted to eat my clothes, so I'm gonna go. Yeah. Cottonseed's not for me.
Yeah, no one eats it but us. Not even no one.
I've never looked at my sweater and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna boil it up and put some sauce on it. So I eat Crisco. I don't know, but I forget who told me one time. Bacon, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Hey,
you guys, you had I don't know, like we always had like a mason jar with like the fat left over, like frozen in the freezer, and like they would just use that to like start the bacon again or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I know it's not great for you, but I forget who told me it one time, or maybe it's a famous saying, but like everything is good in moderation, including moderation. So it's like, it's okay to splurge every now and then. It's okay to go out and have a good time, as long as most of the time you're keeping it even keel.
That's a good definition for this show.
Yeah, we need to adopt that in like a mantra.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
For sure. I think I'm ready for another drink. Trevor, what are you thinking? Can we do it?
So yeah, let's do it. This is probably one of my favorite classic drinks. I love drinking it around New Year's. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's that, we worked in cocktail bars for as long as we have, but like New Year's always has this kind of like prohibition vibe. Everyone's like, right around Repeal Day. And this is an Airmail cocktail. So this is basically a honey daiquiri. So using honey syrup in replace of simple syrup. that we're going to put some champagne on top of. So 1.5 ounces of rum. We're using the 10-to-1. This is one of our clients as well. They're a pretty great company. This is a blend of Jamaican and Dominican rum. So it's got like a little bit of that funky pot still, not a lot of sugar in it at all. So it's like it actually makes this drink fantastic. So I'm using a brut for my bubbles. So I'm going to do 3/4 of an ounce of honey syrup. I do 2-to-1 honey syrup, so just 2 parts honey to 1 part filtered water. And then we're going to do 1/2 ounce of lime juice, and then we're going to shake, even though Gina doesn't want to on New Year's. But this cocktail...
Trevor, for you, I'll shake it.
I guess I shouldn't try and talk in the middle. But yeah, when the champagne era came about in like I guess what would you say, Gina, like the late 80s, early 90s, it was thought to be kind of like blasphemous to put bubbles in anything that wasn't just a glass. So what I like to do, a little trick here, I know some people you'll see like pouring bubbles, down a spoon into the glass. I actually like to add the champagne to the drink when it's in the cocktail shaker. So I just put 3 ounces of champagne right in there, just because, especially with this drink, you want all these flavors to kind of get mixed up together and all that. And I've got a chilled coupe here, but I did forget a strainer. So you're going to see my club bartending days come through here when So it's just a super fresh, not a very boozy drink. You can kind of make it boozier if you want. Slap a lime wheel if you'd really like. I think it's got enough effervescence on its own. Some people like, the way it looks. It kind of fits in that daiquiri mold, but it's really kind of fun how depending, you can kind of change based on like what kind of bubbles you have, but like a brut that's got a little bit less sugar, up the syrup a little bit. You're using a rum that doesn't have as much sugar as well. So it's just like a really nice balance. You really get like that. Document.
So based on your bubbles, because a brut will be drier, correct? So if I had, say, something that were maybe a little more fruit forward in my bubbles, I would adjust that. Cheers. Yeah,
cheers, guys. So that's an Airmail, fantastic classic cocktail. I think for anyone to really have in their arsenal, because it doesn't take a lot to make it. The fresh ingredients, really make this drink pop. But
I really like the honey syrup.
The honey in there is delicious. By the way, this rum is killer.
Yeah, man. So this is the great thing about like what I do now compared to what I used to do, which is I meet some.
I'm sorry, what I do every day? Is that what you're saying? What?
I still bartend. It's just like this now. But as far as like day to day, we got in touch. We had a friend who had started working for this brand. The gentleman behind it, Mark's from Trinidad, and he's just one of those people you just want to be around. He's just like so intelligent and has so much experience. I just want to absorb some of it like via osmosis. But he really wanted to create something that was representative of the rum drinking culture in Trinidad and the Caribbean in general. So everyone asked 10-to-1 like what the name's from. I believe when there was some negotiation on, I'm not going to remember what it was, but it's basically the islands of the Caribbean are stronger together as one. So the 10 islands forming to one as far as representation. And it was, I believe, the Prime Minister of Trinidad who said that famously in his speech. But Mark Farrell he's awesome. And our friend Matt Eisenman started working with them, and then we started talking to it, and then we tasted it. So they have this white rum, which is a blend of, like I said, Jamaican and Dominican. And then they have an aged rum, which has some other rums in there from Trinidad and a couple of different places. And then they just released a 17-year-old rum, which is fantastic. And I think they took like best rum at like the LA Spirits Award recently and like that as well. So they're new to our arsenal. We just think it's fantastic. I love rum as a category, but this, especially the white rum, it's got like just enough of that like funky agricole flavor to it without like completely being overpowering. But it's awesome. And like I said, a great product with good people behind it. So
it smells
heavenly.
beautiful. Yes.
I love like the there's like an herb or something. Like I want to say it's like what's the new word? Muckrat instead of kaffir.
Muckrat. Yeah.
It smells like that, or Fruit Loops, or that smell.
Yeah, it's got super crazy of those like bright citrusy kind of floral notes to it. I thought it's, I mean, honestly, like I've nosed the product and I was like, what do we got to do to work together? Because I think we can really get some good stuff going. And he was coming down for Black Restaurant Week, and we went out and we had dinner at some good places and like talked, and so we're really happy to represent them in the Mid-Atlantic now, because I think it's just a killer product. That's like, you know, it pays homage to a thing, but it's different enough in a category to kind of stand out.
So for our listeners, are they able to, are across the nation, is it easy or more difficult to find 10 to 1?
So depending on the market, so they launched in New York. So in New York, I'd say it's fairly easy. Obviously, it's here now in the Mid-Atlantic, so DC, Maryland, Delaware, I believe Florida, and in the Midwest, I think you're in Chicago. I can double check, but they have a great, I mean, their branding is fantastic, and if you go to their website, just, you know, the 10 to 1 rum, they'll tell you all the markets and how it can find it. And I think depending on where you are and the different rules that are involved with it now, you know, with Drizzly and all those things, you can actually just get it delivered too. So
no worries. So where are they going to go to get the recipes, Gina, and maybe a link to this to this 10 to 1?
You're going to go to designateddrinker.show.
Wait.
You know what I was just going to say? Designateddrinker.snow. I'm looking at the snow like, what is happening to me right now? I feel like I'm in Vermont and I'm not. But
I
also,
could show you like really muddy slush out here in DC if you want to see it. It's not as aesthetically appealing.
Yeah, it's I'm actually terrified I'm gonna get stuck here with my family longer than I want to be. I like to.
That New Yorker is going to be less afraid of the deer before the end of winter, Trevor. I swear she's going to be out there. She's like, no, I'm out with the deer.
Let's be totally honest. I'll be turning in my minivan anytime this week and then getting a truck that I can just like leave whenever I feel like it.
Like, Gina, you let me know. I will, my little, you know, inner redneck will come out and get you souped up, and we'll have you bow hunting deer by next season.
You know, little secret for everybody listening. I think my husband's going to get a crossbow, right? Is that what it is? Because he wants
probably get a compound bow.
Yeah, yes. He wants to do target practice. So he wants to like do like you know, practice or whatever. And I kept thinking, I'm gonna have my bartender friends come up and we're gonna throw axes in my backyard and like drink whiskey. And then I was like, that's just like Chris Schmidt's wedding. And I know you're not listening. One of my friends got married, and it was probably one of the best weddings that I've ever been to. But it was in the country, and that's when I realized that maybe this isn't so bad. So there you go. But is it my turn now? I have a question. Not yet.
Do your thing. Well, we had to do a little more housekeeping because you didn't quite follow through on what they're going to get on that designated drinker show, Gina.
I didn't. I got backtracked. You're going to be getting all of the tips and tricks and how-tos and how to get in touch with Trevor's company, Wash Line, where you can get Riegers, how to get 10 to 1, these lovely cocktails. And luckily enough, I have Louise's home phone number in case you want to call her in the middle of the night. And it'll be really fun because I'm sure her husband would appreciate it.
You just so everyone knows, you never make Gina your enemy.
No.
Do not piss her off. You will pay.
No.
Now it's all you.
Okay, Trevor, I've known you so long. So this question is so big for you. So in this day and age, you know, everybody identifies themselves with some sort of spirit animal, and they're like, I really identify myself with the snow animal because it hangs out in the trees and really camouflages itself, and it hunts during the day and the night, and it's a chameleon of the forest. If you can identify yourself as an ingredient, whether it be alcoholic or culinary, what would it be and why?
Ingredient, man. Oh, that's tough. I had such a good spirit animal answer because I thought that's where you're going. I would say, I don't know, man. Maybe something that's like kind of cool and classic. Like I want to say like Benedictine. I don't know why. It just like kind of came to me. It's like it's sweet, but it's definitely got some bite to it. I think it usually makes things better. I mean, I've been hard pressed to find a recipe where like a little bit of that kind of herbaceous liqueur and anything, the Drambuie, Benedictines, like that whole realm of like improved old fashions, things like that. I think that would probably be it.
I love that.
You like it?
Yeah.
That one, Gina?
Answer. I mean, I know Trevor, so it's almost amazing that it was his answer because I could totally see where he's going with that. Like unexpected.
Well, it's a great bottle to have in a bar fight. You ever had to answer that question, Gina?
That's like, amazing.
You have one bottle to bring with you to a bar fight. What are you going to bring? It kind of fits in there too.
I love that answer. Perfect.
Either that or Maker's Mark, because you have the grip on the handle. What's up, Kelly Paul?
Hi, Kelly.
Absolutely. All right then, Gina. You know what that means. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
I just want to say Happy New Year's to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed your holidays. Be safe, and let's look forward to 2021. Here we come.
Thank you. Cheers.
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 The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Missing Link is a proud partner of Hearing Charities of America, a nonprofit organization that supports those who are deaf or hard of hearing. To learn more about HCOA or to find out about Missing Link's other podcasts, head over to missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.